Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Hoodie with Pages and Panels, and today we have an extra special guest, a creative force who has taken the entertainment industry by storm through his versatility, his strong sense of character, and I mean, look at the material. It's Zeno Robinson, y'all. Let's give a round. So first things first, I want to ask you just how you been?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Busy, but
Yeah.
we're good. How about you?
I would like to say the same. I think I'm entering my slow era now, but been
Mm-hmm.
busy
Mm-hmm.
too. So it's good to hear you're doing well.
Yeah, it's good to take a breath sometimes. Like chill and relax for a little bit.
Yes, it ebbs and it flows for me. So I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to be in my hermit mode.
Same.
I want to say congratulations on your success with Demon Slayer.
Thank you so much appreciated.
How does it feel to finally have that film out and all the positivity surrounding it?
I just think it's cool when people rock with anime. I knew Demon Slayer would be a big deal, but I never imagined it would be as big of a deal as it became.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the first time an anime film had ever done a premiere at the Chinese theater. So that is really cool to think about. And I'm just really honored to sort of be a part of that history. Yeah, now that the movie's out. I mean, we got two more allegedly on the way. Crunchyroll is like you shouldn't say that there's more, but I'm like, you guys already said that there's more. So but we've got two more on the way. I'm curious to see how people feel from film to film, while keeping sort of the hype of the series alive. So it's been a good time. It's been really kind of a crazy sort of mind-blowing thing to be a part of.
Being a part of history in that and not just witnessing it, it's really special. So
Yeah.
My first really in-depth question, I guess, if you could describe yourself in 5 comics or mangas, which 5 would you choose and why?
Oh, okay. I've never been asked this before. I'd say I'd pick. This is a good question. I'm trying to pick the specific stories too. Definitely Static. My first 2 off top is Static and Miles Morales. Miles Morales specifically, Cody Ziegler's run I like the most. They both are like these nerdy black kids who a lot of their stories are like embracing who they are in the midst of their community. Static's story is more of he's an outsider. He's got like a small little group of friends that he hangs out with, and he's like torn between a bunch of worlds where he's like sort of the new Milestone Initiative relaunch. He's kind of like a cooler kid. He's still like a nerd, but he's kind of like a cooler kid. Like nerd, being a nerd is like accepted now. So it's not he's not as much of an outsider, but he still sort of grapples with the responsibility he feels to his family and to his community, and the responsibility that like being granted sort of these powers come with. And I think Miles is a very similar thing, except he's sort of more grappling with his place within sort of the greater Marvel heroes lineup, right? He's like, who am I amongst all of these essentially titans that I've come upon, like joining them, and how do I make my stance as a hero and as somebody who like wants to help people. So I think like I take so much away from both of those stories, and I really resonate with them. I'd say Jujutsu Kaisen. I think the character of Yuji, his main objective in everything that he does is he wants to sort of help people so that he can know that he's done something good with his life, which is it's like he doesn't want to be like the strongest or like Hokage, I think he puts this thing upon himself, and his grandfather does as well before his grandfather passes, but he like takes on sort of this duty upon himself to sort of help others, so that way he'll know that he's lived a worthy life. And I think that's a really powerful message. I think it's like a really powerful like value to have, and a reason to sort of help others is that you can be proud of the life you live. I got 3. I'm trying to think of 2 more. Okay, I'll say Gachiakuta. I think there is this element present in the story that is about sort of fighting back against a world that has already labeled you a particular thing. So the sort of the sort of class and societal structure of that story is essentially kind of telling people who they are and what they should be. Is sort of the whole conceit of it is like fighting back against like a corrupt sort of world that sets out on telling you like who you are, or making assumptions about you based off of where you come from or what you look like. And the central like sort of power system is this ability to sort of grant you give power into a thing that's precious to you. So you have a thing that's precious to you, and therefore you can sort of give it power. And I think like the relationship with precious objects is really cool, because I think everybody has that kind of thing, like a thing that's precious to them. But also like this using sort of what's precious to you to fight back against a world that tries to tell you what you are, I think is a really cool message. It's just a really cool manga too.
Yeah, one more. Like
I got one more. I know. I got one more. I gotta think of. I'm gonna say Naruto.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna say Naruto. There's this. A cheat would be Kingdom Hearts, but it's technically a video game. But
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Naruto is like a character who he's got like he has an advantage. He was born with an advantage, right? But it didn't really. It didn't help him for a lot of his life.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't access it in a way that was sustainable for most of his life. Even though he was a sort of prodigal son, he still had to work incredibly hard in order to measure up to those who had sort of inherent talent. He doesn't have a ton of inherent talent in comparison to his peers. He's not, of course he is the son of a Hokage, but he did not know that growing up, and that dude was dead, so there's no benefit he got other than the people who knew his dad, in his life. Unlike a Sasuke or any of his peers who like came from clans that had built-in sort of techniques that they passed down. Of course Sasuke's family was murdered, so he's kind of in the same little boat. Naruto, he grew up an outsider and he grew up alone, and he mostly just wanted like recognition and acceptance. And he spent a lot of his life sort of fighting for that and building to that through like hard work and dedication. And I like this idea of like talk no jutsuing your enemies before you have to fight them. Like he is one to be like, I'm gonna try to talk to you and speak to your reason first, but if that doesn't work, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And like I think like I think that's a great way to live your life. I think like like this sort of working hard and dedication and fighting for what he wants, but also sort of this empathy in like trying to understand the people that he's actively fighting against, but it doesn't take away from his ability to fight them if he needs to. So that's what I'd say.
I think that was a good 5. Like that's a really good hero's journey. Like,
Thank
okay,
you.
I see the arc.
You see the arc? You see the vision?
Yes, I'm like, oh, that's really cool, because I feel like with the interviews I've watched and like this articles I've read, I see. I'm like,
you see it all connects.
Yeah. So speaking of stories, the beginning of a story sets the scene for the journey to come. And for a lot of creatives, the beginning of our journeys can reside in people or key moments that lead us to participate in the entertainment industry. So what was that moment or person for you?
It's definitely at the same time. I was in middle school. We had to go to the auditorium for a play. It was a mandatory play that we all had to see, which was cool because we got to get out of a class period. So I was excited just to be out of class period. I was like, where are we going? Like, why are we going to the auditorium? And it was to watch a sort of like 20-minute or however minute preview of the play that the school was putting on, and the play was the stage adaptation of the Lorax. And so it started, and we're on the auditorium, and all these kids come like running through the aisles, and they start like jumping on stage, and this girl walks out, and she's in this mask and she's in this costume, and she starts doing this monologue, and I go, what is that? I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to run around and jump on a stage and talk into a microphone. Like, that sounds cool. So I asked the drama teacher. I walked up to him after it, and I was like, how do I do this? And he was like, this is, I was like, what is this? He was like, oh, it's drama. It's drama. It's an elective. And I was like, how do I do it? And then he's like, well, you have to talk to your counselor. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to my counselor. So I went to talk to my counselor. I was like, I was in art, so I wanted to draw.
Oh, wow.
But I was really bad at it. So it was no problem for me to switch from art to drama. I was like, whatever. I was like, I want to do drama. And she was like, well, you're already like halfway into the semester. You can't just go do drama. You have to wait till. I was like, okay, I'll wait. So
Right.
I went and I waited. The next semester I did drama. That's when I was like, oh, like I love acting. So Kane Lisker, he was my middle school drama teacher, and he put on a play of the Lorax, and I was like, I want to do that. And here I am.
Hey, shout out to Kane. Shout
out to Kane.
Right. I'm like,
right.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Because I'm like, I've heard like the first part of that story, but not like the whole thing. So I'm like, oh, It's so cool to have that teacher that, you know, is there and pushes you there. So you did your first audition for talent agencies, and you performed a monologue that you wrote yourself at 14, which is crazy. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
What did you like to read at that time that inspired your writing?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think around that time is when I started reading comic books, and I watched a lot of TV, but I was a very emotional kid. So like I was very concerned with like the world. Like I was just like, I just had a deep empathy about everything. So like that monologue I wrote was like literally about a kid who's lost his older brother to gang violence. Like I was like, yeah, like I was just really concerned with the world. I just was, and I had a really like, I had have a really emotional, I think, soul, which is in retrospect, like at the time I was mostly like reading comic books, like where I could, right? Or like Batman, the animated series comic books, or I would read a lot of like fiction novels. Heir Apparent is like a novel that I remember reading really like, like a long time ago. I was a big like fiction reader. I was a big reader. If I wasn't like playing a video game or watching like cartoons, I was like reading. And I think like that all did inspire my writing. I used to write a lot of like, I used to make up a lot of stories. I have pages and pages of things like I used to like write. So I think that was mostly it. It's just like most of the stuff I read now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool. I'm like, it's a little full circle with what you wrote your monologue about, and then the plot of your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's kind of, I know,
funny. Right? Yeah, I know, pretty crazy.
So like, it's so cool, because I'm like, I feel like a lot of people, they read a lot, but putting that to writing and then being like, now I'm gonna perform what I wrote, it's like, that's just,
yeah, I don't even know what possessed me to do that. I think they gave me the option, and I was, I used to write poetry as a kid. I was just a big writer, and I was like, oh, if I have the option to write something, then I'll just write something. I'll write something about something that I care about. And as a kid, I was like just really concerned about like the world and the people and my community, and that's leading back to the Static thing, right? It was like Static got his powers from a gang war. In the original Milestone comics, it was a gang war. In the new one, it's a Black Lives Matter protest, but still it's like a big sort of a clash of ideals. So yeah, still a big community thing that impacts Black people and Black issues. And,
right.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool how you're really locked in. I'm like,
locked in.
So after signing to CESD, you got your first role in Benton Alien Force, and then you later, according to the internet, attended the Identity School of Acting.
I did.
Okay, but
yeah, the internet's correct so far.
And so did Cheyenne, the creator and writer of the comic
She
shop.
did. She did. Yes.
So can you speak to how friendship and shared creative visions have played a role in your life?
Friendship and shared creative visions is how I got to where I am today. Like, I wouldn't be where I am without the connections I've made and the friendships I've made and the people I've met who like support me or have given me a chance along the way. You know, Cheyenne is a person who I met through like the convention scene. She was like working for Amazon, and I think she was like also like hosting, and like she would do like panels. So she like has hosted a couple of panels of mine. So we just professionally we had known each other, you know, for years before we even worked together on the comic shop. But I think just based off what we knew each other on the you know, through the internet, she had reached out to me and she was like, I have this idea for you about like, I want you to play this character and this thing that I'm creating. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, just like, let me know what you need from me. Like, I'm down to do it. I've been wanting to do more on camera work. So just let me know if there's anything you need on my end. So I think just like my first ever like dubbing job was another actor putting my name forward to a studio and be like, oh, you need this kind of character. I just met this guy and he seems like he'd be a good fit. And that's how I got called in an audition for, you know, my first ever sort of like dubbing role, which was a character named Fernando in this Netflix show called 3%. You build, you know, building communities or making friendships. They're the people who are like, I've got this opportunity for you. Even me getting into Crunchyroll, one of my friends, Brittany Lotta, she had an indie dubbing studio whose roster I was on. And so I auditioned for a bunch of their indie games and I booked one and she was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. She put my name into Crunchyroll and that's how I got to audition for that. And my agent was doing it at the was in talks with them at the same time. But both these things combined was how I got my first audition for My Hero Academia. So I think like it's all it's I owe everything to not just like God, who, you know, my Lord and Savior, but also to the people and the connections that I've made and the people that I've met and the people who believe in me. So yeah.
No, it's so cool to have like a support system that really believes in you or has your names in rooms that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I always tell people, network across, make some friends.
Network across, always.
And with that, congratulations on winning the American Black Film Festival for Best Episodic Series.
You know? Yeah, it was so cool.
Yes, and it's so well deserved. You and Cheyenne and the whole team and the rest of your co-stars did amazing. Shout out Shanae, Grayson. Y'all did great.
Yes. What a great time.
On the show, you play the role of Keith, a quirky, fun-loving, and slightly aloof co-owner of OMG Comics. Mm-hmm. And you gained your experience in acting, and you've scored some on-camera roles in short films and other things, but a lot of your experience is in voice acting. So how do you shift while transitioning from voice acting into on-screen acting, especially when a lot of your voiceover characters are super strong and macho versus Keith, who is like more of like the comedic relief?
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, I went to Identity for many, many years. So I trained pretty extensively in body work and in on-camera work. And really, the comic shop was a big opportunity to sort of show my work, right? It was a big opportunity to sort of apply all of that stuff that I learned and just like, you know, like there's a term for this, but it's like, you know, when you're learning on the job, it's like, you know, like a litmus test or just like a stress test of like all the stuff that I had been learning for years. So I try not to see like the different methods of acting that differently. It's just like training different, it's I see it like training different muscles. It's the same body, but it's just like the difference between lifting or cardio. You know, it's like it's the same like muscles, but you're sort of using different techniques in order to get different outcomes. I wouldn't approach Keith like how I'd approach Hawks because they're two different characters. Right. And I probably wouldn't approach Keith like I approach any character I play that's comedic and voiceover, because on-screen comedy is like different, right? But there's also similarities. and you use different sort of things, right? I can use a voiceover technique in a thing, or I can use an on-camera technique in voiceover. So it's all like, how do I get the machine to now like work in this different way? Essentially, is like, I think the way that I went about adapting sort of Keith as a character, and you know, approaching sort of on camera from someone who like works mainly in voiceover.
No, that's so cool, because I'm like, I've seen a little bit behind the scenes footage of you in the booth and like how your physicalities are. So it feels like a slight, like, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it, like a slight shift to like, you already do these things, but now it's like, okay, I have to really
Yeah,
go
like
hard.
right, yeah, it's like it's almost, for me, it's like voiceover is like, I want to do a lot of the stuff that on camera requires, but I can't, because I gotta like, you know, I gotta stay within the mic space. So it's like, how much of that can I do while being able to stay here in this space? But in on camera, it's more of a playground that I can sort of be a little more not like free, but like I can move a little bit. I can use a little bit more of my body, and I think it always helps being in a physical space that is built for the project. It adds a little bit of immersion in order for you to sort of like, you know, get into what you're doing, as opposed to voiceover where you're like, you really got to be specific up here to get that same immersion.
No, that totally makes sense, especially because like the universe is like built around you. It's like, I'm in here.
Yeah.
I'm in here.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but I didn't know which would be the preference, because I didn't know if not being seen would be more free than knowing you're being perceived. So
when I started acting, I started to do on camera. I started for like, I wanted to be on TV. You know, I personally have no problem with being on camera. I like it. You know, I know there are some voice actors who like specifically not to be on camera, but I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great. It's fun.
That's so cool. That's so cool and flexible. Like, I love that.
Thank you.
And so The Comic Shop is one of my favorite web series right now. So I've watched like a lot of content about it.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, y'all did great. And watching the behind the scenes, I noticed that you improvise a little bit more than some of your co-stars.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, how did you develop the confidence to trust your improv skills with your variety of characters?
Oh, I improv a lot in voiceover too. I think this is a cool interview, because there's going to be a lot of full circle through lines and bylines. So, you know, like I've been writing things since I was a kid, you know, as we both know. That is a thing that that's not a muscle that I necessarily stopped working. And I think part of like understanding a character is understanding what they would say, even if there are no words for you to say. Right? Like, even when there's no, you know, like, what would XYZ character say in this situation? What would XYZ character say in this situation, even if it's not scripted? I've taken improv classes before, and I improv a lot. There's some lines in Critic of the Creek that are mine, that are improvised. There are some lines in Transformers Earthspark that are mine, that are improvised. And I improvise a lot when I do anime, or I help make rewrites when me and the team run into like script snags or things like that. Like I'll be like, oh, what if we said this? Or like, what if we said this? Or would this work? Or da-da-da-da. On The Comic Shop, especially it being a comedic sort of centered series, was an opportunity to sort of flex that muscle again. So like in between takes, if there was something that I thought might be funny, or something I thought like would be cool to say, like I would just, you know, we would do things multiple times. So on the second or the third take, I would just say it and see how it lands, or I would just do it and like see how it lands. Over time, eventually I began to, as I grew more comfortable with it, I just did it more. I have this joke with the writers that I'm always like, oh, when am I getting a writing credit? Because half of my lines are my own, you know. So I had this joke with Josh a lot about like so like when we do the behind the scenes interviews, I always I say I'm a co-writer. But
as the creator of the show, what about me? What about what I want? What about my needs?
Because Zeno is so humble and he never changes anything.
think like that's the thing, especially for on camera, and the muscle I'm trying to teach myself, and the thing I'm trying to teach myself like in on camera work is like, how do I become more free? A lot of like, I think my weakness in on camera is like I think too much and I think too hard. A lot of like my work on the comic shop was trying to address that weakness specifically. If I had an idea, I would do it. Like I wouldn't ask for permission. I wouldn't, because that's freedom, right? Like that's I have an idea and I'm trying it out. Like there'll be times trying to be like, okay, but like actually like do what I wrote, right? Like, and I'd be like, all right. It was just like about play and like having fun and like being free, and like how can I like help like flesh out Keith as a character in this as well, and also how can I like build up and uplift this world in these sort of funny ways, right? Like what do I think is funny? What can I do to sort of give this scene a different idea or a different flavor or a different XYZ? And I always do it as written, so I was like, if Cheyenne or anybody doesn't like it, they'll have the original take. They'll have originally what's written. So I felt like I was trying not to like step on any toes, but also like honor myself as an actor and an artist, and the project as well. I wanted it to be amazing. So yeah,
that was a really beautiful answer. I mean, there's so much I feel like I have like thoughts about. So I'm like, I feel like building the skill to do that, because it's so important. I feel like as an artist is to be able to trust yourself in your skill and timing, because I feel like that's a big thing. So even risking like being told like, I don't know, I think a lot of people won't even take that risk because it feels scary. It's like, oh, what if they don't come back? Or
So it's scary. It's like, you can't be afraid of failure. As an actor, you probably fail every day. You don't book every audition. You'll make a mistake. You'll do something and they might say no. If the worst they can do is say no, then I think you'll be okay, right? Like, you might not, as long as you don't get like blacklisted or anything like that, the worst they can do is say no. And if the worst they can do is say no, I can handle a no. I can take rejection. I do want to, but that is part of like honoring yourself as an actor. You're like, dang, I want to try this. I asked. I asked. Like, I asked the first time, and then I just kind of went crazy after that.
No, I mean, that's so cool. And then that's such great advice, because I was really watching. I was like, wow, like these moments really made the scene or made me feel more connected to your character. So I'm like, you trusted it, you made a great decision. So I'm like, a lot of it stayed.
Yeah. There's in the last episode, I think, I chased the guy out and I go, okay, that's a permanent ban. That was a line that I made up, and like that, like I knew a thing would land if Cheyenne would say it multiple times after I did it, because we would be in a, she'd be like, that's a permanent ban. She was like, yeah, it's probably gonna stay in. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like certain things, just they add a little, they just give everything a little bit of a push. So
yes, and I'm like, I think it really did, and that makes me think of a question that I didn't even write down, but I know you said part of your character reference for Keith was like a little bit of Eddie, and I feel like your Keith is a little more charming, I feel like, than Eddie to a degree. So I was wondering, were there any other inspirations, or was it partially you and Eddie? Like, how did that go?
I think I referenced a lot of Eddie because I just think like a lot of his moments are moments I repeat back to myself, like that I think is still funny today. You know what I mean? Like from That's So Raven. I just think like he had a great comedic timing. He did great physical comedy. Even like some of his like line reads were really funny. There's this episode where Raven, she's in disguise, she's trying to help her dad save his restaurant, and he's trying to come up with a name for her, and she's like, tell him who I be. And he's like, me? He's like, and he like looks around, he's like, yeah, that's Liz Anya. Like I remember it so vividly because it was so funny to me. I think some of the more like sort of goofiness that I think Eddie Baxter has is something I like weaved into Keith. Keith is also, of course, deeply inspired by Troy from Community. A lot of this show is inspired by Community. So, I learned also a lot about being funny and like, comedic timing and line reads from Donald Glover, and his performances in everything he's done, because I watch everything he does. I know Troy, from me and from Cheyenne, we pull a lot from Troy, from Community. And so like I wanted to keep that in mind too, and like how I read certain things, the way like Childish Gambino does certain like realizing things, like he does that a lot in Community. He'll go, wait, what, and I think like I think he does that a lot. So like, that's what like that is I was like, that's a Troy read, like essentially that's like my like Troy Barnes kind of take. I feel like that's a Raven in Community, and those characters like influence a lot of like what I think is funny, and I think like Josh Johnson is one too. Just because I love his style of comedy. It's very like logical and direct, and he's also got a bit of like a Donald Glover thing going on. So all that kind of like the sort of the nerdy charming black guy funny goofy thing is like sort of where we landed with Keith.
I mean, I see it. I'm like, now that you say it, I'm like, oh, that definitely makes sense. Like, I definitely see it. And then the full circle to your username outside of it.
Yes. The full circle interview.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you take on so many roles, and not just in acting or voiceover. You've hosted conventions, you've led panels, you've presented awards, and you've done a lot in so many different realms. You mentioned in your interview with VoQuit that your definition of success is always changing, and that you're always thinking about your next evolution. So as an actor who does voice acting and on screen, are you wanting to expand to other mediums like writing?
Oh, 100%. Like writing and producing. Josh, one of the writers on the comic shop, has a book series that they wanted to adapt into an audio drama. So I helped them produce the audio drama of Project Super Crush. I think Act 1 is out right now on anywhere. It's like a LGBTQ sort of romance novel. You know what I'm saying?
Please just hear me out, please.
You know what I'm saying? And that's like, kind of my version of like networking across, right? Is like, oh, my friend has a dream. How can I help them make this dream come true? What can we put creatively into the world? I EP'd on the comic shop. I do want to do more writing. I'm getting really into I'm meeting a lot of video game devs and trying to see what space there is for me in that space. And I want to make, I want to start creating things. So I think like right now I'm just in a very I want to start making things kind of era. So we'll see what happens there.
No, that's so cool. Like, it seems like the evolution, next step is already in progress.
It's in process. It's in process. And like with comic shop being on camera, I want to start doing more sort of cinematic, more on camera things. So we'll see. I'm working in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm like, you're doing. I'm like, that's so cool, especially like executive producing. Oh, it's just gonna be so cool. I'm excited to see what comes of all. I'm like,
me too.
Of that
We'll
audio.
Oh yeah, check it out. If you like a little LGBTQ romance, I think you'll have a good time.
Oh, please,
yes.
Please just hear me out.
I'm like, I got a few more questions.
Okay.
So before we get into those, I just want to say thank you for being yourself and for using your voice, because you not only use your voice to bring stories to life, you also use them to shed light on important social injustices happening throughout the world, and especially here. And as artists, I think it's really important that we use our crafts and our platforms to push the world to be a better place. So I thank you for doing that.
Of course. I do my best, yo. It can be daunting. It can be real daunting.
I agree, because I was thinking, I was like, there's a lot of people that I feel like people are like, can you please say something about this? Can you please say something? And you've already said it. You like,
I was like, you can go back on my tweets. I've said it already. Said but I had to say about this.
Because the Sinister Six comment was hilarious. That was funny.
The what?
That Sinister Six about the Supreme Court. That was funny.
I don't even remember making that, but I'm sure I said that. Because yes, freaking Sinister Six.
Literally. Also, we need creatives like this.
Yeah, 100%.
How do you do that without at least allowing fear, I guess, to prevent you from saying things?
I mean, I think sometimes there is a level of fear. The more entertainment feeds into capitalism and the more entertainment becomes intertwined with politics, the more the public figures, out of sort of self-protection or self-preservation, or in order to sort of maintain a mystery so they can operate in the space of, will XYZ affect my any opportunities coming my way, so I won't do anything in order to sort of leverage, it's like a chess sort of match. And I think like there's always sort of a level of fear when you draw a line in the sand, or you make a hard stance against something or about something, because saying nothing, you have the benefit of, I don't want to say neutrality, but you have the benefit of people not knowing, right? You have the benefit of like, people will guess or assume, but you haven't necessarily made a stance or said anything. So you can curate your content, or you can curate your world or your timeline or your viewpoint to be about what you want it to be about, right? You can not talk on issues, and you can curate, I'm just going to talk about work or anime or a manga or XYZ. And I think that's a stance, and I think that's fine. I just think some people don't have that privilege. Like some people, and it's important to recognize that privilege. The benefit of mystery is something I think is a closer word to the word I was thinking of. When people like don't say anything, they or out of fear, or just because they don't want to like stir that nest or whatever it is, you still have the benefit of sort of mystery. There's no judgment either way, because you don't know how the person feels. So you just go with what you do know, which is that they're in this thing, or you want them to promote this thing or whatever, what have you. So I think there's always a level of fear, because once you become vocal, then you're seen as that, right? You're seen as a person who's vocal. So that means, are you potentially problematic, or what things will come with you being outspoken? There's a balancing act that I think a lot of public figures have to play in. How do I speak up on public issues without like hurting my baseline, or how do I speak up on public issues without alienating audiences or alienating clients, or harming an opportunity for myself, my income, how do I speak on this without hurting like my future work, without hurting my future self? It's like it's like thinking about how your digital footprint, right? When you're like, dang, like I gotta check all my tweets from XYZ. It's a tough thing to balance when you're like a public figure and the internet lives forever. So anything you say is out there forever. So for me, sometimes I think to myself, well, people are dying, and like, do I want to work with someone who is okay with that? Like if I say Black Lives Matter and somebody's it's like, well, I'm black, I'm black. Do I want to associate with someone who will be offended that I'm asking for the state not to kill my people? Like, maybe I don't need to work with that person. Maybe I don't want to work with that person. That person who would want to work with me wouldn't care if something happened to me. They would see something happening to me as like a political stance, or as a they would see something happening to me as, it wouldn't be about the loss of life. It would be, so like, I guess sometimes that's how I handle the fear of it. It's like, do I want to work with people who are okay with inhumanity? Because ultimately that's what I'm speaking on, right? I speak on things that I think like this is inhumane, or like I think this as a society this is wrong. And as an actor who has empathy, and empathy is required in order to sort of do what I do, I feel deeply. Then full circle, right? I felt deeply for the world, even as a 14-year-old, being concerned with his, community, people in his community being killed. That hasn't changed. It's like, how do I speak on this in a way? Sometimes I have to think about how I speak on certain things. And like, as a public figure, I think it's my responsibility to speak on things in a way that is intelligent and informed. So I don't want to be ignorant in how I speak on things based off of my initial emotion. If I'm thinking of myself as a public figure, a person with clients and clientele, if I want to say something, I want to say something in the most intelligent and empathetic and understanding way possible in order to be, people will always misunderstand, but I want to at least be as clear as I am about like, hey, like this is exactly what I'm saying, and I think this thing is objectively wrong. Right? Like I think this thing is objectively wrong. I think like a lot of things that are happening right now are objectively wrong. This Supreme Court is being the Sinister Six. It's because they're doing Sinister Six things, right? Like I'm not saying this from it's not coming out of a place of not being informed or me being ignorant about a thing. It's like, look at what is actually who it's impacting and what is the result. Is your life getting better? So it does come with a level of fear. There is, I think, always a level of fear of like, if I say something, I don't know what someone else behind the scenes is gonna feel. But sometimes, ultimately, when I think it's important enough, I must say, do I want to work with someone who is okay with inhumanity, or do I want to work with someone who is okay with dehumanizing me?
Well, y'all heard them. Be scared, but do it anyway. And
do it anyway, but be smart about it. Don't be smart. Like take your time and educate yourself, so you can have the most informed opinion. I try not to speak on things that I don't know fully about. If it's a Black community issue, I know a lot about that. American issues, I know a lot about that. A lot of other issues, I try to hold off on what I say until I've done the research and I form an informed opinion about it. And then I'm like, okay, this is a thing that I think I'm qualified to speak on based on me doing my work. I think that's the best way to sort of not rub someone the wrong way or like not piss off a client, is like, this is how I'm approaching this in a diplomatic and in an informed way, but also like aware.
No, I agree, because it's like without that you kind of just
then you look dumb, and then that's even worse.
But with speaking about the world, what's a story that you haven't seen told but would do the world a lot of good right now?
A story that exists in
I mean, like, I guess that could be up to you. It could be completely just new period or something that hasn't been, put into mainstream, maybe.
I think we need like a big, I don't know. The idea I have is so like abstract.
I mean,
I just think like, because I would say my first idea was like, I think we need a story about empathy and like blah blah blah, and I was like, it's kind of Superman though, it's kind of we got it a little bit with Superman. And then I literally just watched He-Man and Masters of the Universe, and there are like all these cool conversations about like toxic masculinity within that, and like men talking about their feelings and things like that. I don't know. I think we just need more stories about like other people and their pain, and how to be empathetic and supportive of that pain. I think I think we've grown quite individualistic as a society, and I think a lot of that is because we're kind of all living in survival mode, and I do fully blame late stage capitalism, but I just think like the world feels really tense for everyone right now. A lot of people I know are going through a lot of just hardships, and that's spiritually and physically and mentally and emotionally. And I think art is this very sort of universally uniting thing. Everybody, whether they are aware of it or not, consumes art in some form, and it impacts and has had an impact on their life, or has influenced some part of their life in some way, shape, or form. And so I think like we have to be able to balance how everyone in the world is feeling right now with the reality that we're all here, and that like we all can, as a unit and as a collective, be better to each other and to our world. So I don't know what that looks like. I think maybe that means, I don't know, something like just really like heartwarming and uniting, and but something that's also like, oh man, like other people suffer, you know, like other people suffer, and we have to be, you know, here's how we can like help others in their suffering, you know. Which I don't know if, I mean, it probably could just be Superman, but you know. It probably could just be Superman. You just have to wait for the next Superman movie.
Yeah. Because I'm like, or I mean, you know, it could be something that you write in the future. You never know.
Something I do. Yeah, I never know.
I'm like all those pages.
I know. I gotta put it to you somehow.
Yes. Okay. Everybody, you can find Zeno online at Childish Gamzino everywhere. Sometimes with an underscore in between the childish and the Gamzino. What are you excited for that your community of support can look forward to?
Of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man coming out at some point.
I'm like, it's so good.
They've been saying a season a year, and if that's true, then season 2 will be out this year.
Okay.
And some other stuff that I can't
That's all I can say, but you know it's coming.
But that is the main one, top of my mind, is we're, you know, more Spider-Man on the way.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I'm excited for that too, because I've never read Spider-Man, but I've watched the movies and then I watched, you know, the series. I was like, oh snap. I was like,
yeah, Spider-Man's fun. It's a fun show. It's a fun series. It's great.
Oh, they be getting down. I was like,
we be getting down. We got a great team. Everyone's doing amazing.
A great cast. I was like, I saw what you said about the live action Call Me Domingo. You were like, well, me too then. Put me in there.
Yeah, no, look.
I love to see you.
You see me on camera. You know what I can do?
Right.
You know what I can do? The internet was kind of like, no. And I was like, what?
I was
yeah, thank you. They were like, well, you're old. I was like, Tom Holland just turned 30.
Like, I just got here. It's my 30th.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Like, we can do a little college. Like, stop.
Look, come on. Don't play with me.
I'm like, y'all saw High School Musical. All of them was 20 years old.
Y'all saw High School Musical. Don't play with me.
Like, literally.
Don't play with me.
Just thank you again for such a meaningful conversation. I've learned so much. I can't wait to see the next evolution. So
yeah, thank you for having. This is a great interview. That you had such great questions. The questions I've never been asked before. It's really refreshing. So thank you.
That was literally. I was like, okay, my goal, my one objective is complete.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, that's really it for the interview. So thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you learned something. Stand up for yourself. Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams. You are loved. We love you. Right there. Boom. Boom.
That's so perfect. Thank you so much. OMG. Please like, subscribe, and comment what cartoon or movie you know Zeno from. I'm Hoodie with Pages and Panels. Check out my Patreon. And y'all ready? Don't be scared. Y'all ready? Okay. The ninja is... I don't think you are me. I'm about to end. I'm not next. Let's see. If I stop the recording. Okay, but